My name is Natalie Boldt. My major was environmental engineering. I graduated with that degree in 2015. My current company, I am at a law firm called Davis, Graham and Stubbs here in Denver, Colorado, and I'm an associate attorney with them. Yeah, so I am an environmental attorney. I am in our environmental and natural our environmental and public lands group. And so, what Davis Graham and Stubbs does is they work with clients in energy, mining, and various other industries. And we offer a wide array of legal services, really from beginning to end for our clients. So, we get involved with rulemaking that affects our clients, to compliance programs of those rules, and then all the way through litigation. So we really are a start to finish in the environmental realm, helping our clients with anything they need to comply with the law. I decided that I wanted to be an attorney in high school. I love the art of argument. I love the art of seeing both sides of a story and coming to a common ground. And so I decided pretty early on in high school, I want to be an attorney. The setback to becoming an attorney is that you need an undergraduate degree before you get to law school in most states. And so my parents really helped instruct me and say, hey, you've got to do something before you go on and get the law degree. And they were very practical and they said, college is 4 years. It's a very formative time. You don't want a degree, maybe in like pre law or something that you couldn't envision yourself using after college if you decide you don't want to go to law school. And so that got my wheels turning. I really, really love math. Science is all right, but I really like math. And so I decided, okay, I want to go to engineering school. I can see a career as an engineer. And so I decided to pursue that degree at Mines. Went through Mines, really put the legal career in the back of my mind. I was dedicated to getting my engineering degree and becoming an engineer. And then after I got out of Mines, I was pretty tired from the academic rigor that Mines puts its students through. And so I said, okay, I am going to use this degree and I'm going to work in the field, not explicitly as an environmental engineer. I was an environmental health and safety professional for an upstream oil and gas company. And so I held that role for 7 years and I really enjoyed my work there. I started in air quality and then I moved on to general compliance. And what that career really showed me was that scientists and engineers really do need attorneys, and attorneys need science and engineers. I think that both speak a very unique language in this world and what they understand. In my work as an engineer, I relied on attorneys to help us make common sense regulations, to decipher regulations we were supposed to comply with. And so that really reignited for me that interest in law. And now that I speak this scientific and this more technical engineering background language, how can I parlay that into a legal career and speak the legal language, know the legalese, and how to navigate through America's legal system to really speak the language of both? I was unique in my law school journey in that I actually continued to work while I went through law school. So I held a 40-hour job during the week, and then I would spend 20 to 30 hours on law school in addition to that. And I think my main driver through all of this was that passion to help both sides further their aims. And so, wanting to be a lawyer from a young age and making that career change kept me going when I had long days at work and then even longer days at school. And one advantage I found to working and going to school was to support myself financially. And it also was a little less scary than quitting my full time career to go into that second one. I was able to appreciate my career while I was in it during the day. And then at night, when I would study for school, it was like a totally different realm. And I could really see the stark contrast between the two, which got me really excited about both and appreciating the time that I had left in my engineering career while also getting excited for the future in a legal career. Yeah, so I went to DU and they offer a professional part-time program. And so their program is flexible and they market that program as a 4-year program as opposed to a traditional 3-year law degree. So for me, it really wasn't that long of an extension of time. My personal circumstances allowed me to get it done in 3.5 years, which is pretty incredible. But I found that the 4-year degree, especially while being able to work full time, was not that much of a leap from the 3 years that I was looking at if I were to go full time. I do feel like mine's really prepared me. And I think that one thing in school that I found different than maybe some of my cohort members was that mines taught me to be very analytically minded. And so I think about minds of, okay, we're taught all these equations, we're taught all these variables, and if one thing moves, how does that impact another? And when I went to law school, I kind of thought of law school as a mind puzzle or a mind game. But when I got down to it, I said, this is an equation. The law is an equation. You have to find out what your constants are. You have to find out what your variables are, all based on the facts. And once I started to think about law school as a math program, what I learned at Mines became so easy for me to apply in the law. I look at situations and I say, that's a variable, or that's a variable. That's something that is unknown. I need to figure out. These other things are constant, they're not at issue. So I can kind of set those aside, knowing they're part of the equation, but they're not what I should focus on. And so I really think that engineers can make great lawyers when they look at the law in an analytical way like that, instead of, maybe just reading, writing, and pie in the sky type of thoughts. In my work, I'm really excited to get more into the environmental law side. I have an oil and gas background, and so I'm being exposed to mining issues. I'm doing a lot of work in water rights, which is really relevant in Colorado. Being an appropriation system, water rights go to those who, quote unquote, get in line first for them. So, really looking at that water market in Colorado and how the law shapes how water rights work is really exciting for me. And then helping client navigate those water rights issues is what I'm most looking forward to, in addition to some more traditional environmental law type of stuff, CERCLA, contamination work. You have the Clean Water Act, the Clean Air Act. How do we take these regulations that were put in place 40, 50 years ago and shape them to the needs that we have today with emerging contaminants and all the new science that is coming out, really taking that and addressing contamination issues there. My biggest piece of advice is to be flexible. When I was leaving mines, I know that a lot of my classmates had jobs maybe in September of that final year. I didn't end up getting a job until much, much later in spring semester. And I think that I ended up with a really great gig. And so I could have let that stress overcome me and let it totally paralyze me, but instead I found a career that I really wanted to go into. And I was able to make a selection of a few job opportunities, which was very fortunate for me. And then going through my career, I had some assignments that were maybe more in the weeds or less desirable for other people to do. And as a young professional, it would have been very easy for me to say, I don't want to do that. This is the project that no one wants to do. But instead, I tried to change my mindset and think about how can I positively impact this project? What does this project mean to the greater good? And changing my mindset on my project really helped me dive deep in the weeds, solve a problem, and really start to build those fundamental skills that a young engineer or really any career professional needs. And that parlayed me into bigger projects that I was very appreciative of, but I had to be appreciative in the moment of that smaller project or that smaller contribution to make that way. So I would say to new grads, take every chance that you get as truly an opportunity, even when others don't view it that way. It's a chance for you to learn, it's a chance for you to build your reputation in that career and really be known as that person that's willing to tackle any kind of problem, even when others aren't.